live in a world that can break you down. We're all fighting battles the world can't see. But what if healing wasn't about pretending to be perfect? Healing starts the moment you stop pretending you're fine. Welcome to Help the People. Help the People is more than a podcast. It's a movement. A space for truth, for healing, for conversations that rebuild what life tried to destroy. Because kindness knows no enemy.
Welcome back to Help the People. I'm your host, Shannon Riley. Today I want to continue to discuss sports in America. Specifically, I want to piggyback off the podcast I last uploaded. I want to talk about the cities that built our leagues. Every year, America's poorest neighborhoods produce some of the world's finest athletes. Young black boys and girls from overlooked cities become million-dollar talents for college, corporations, and professional leagues. I guess my question is, well, what happens to the communities they come from? So in this episode, I want to explore the uncomfortable truth behind sports culture, the economic extraction, and the community neglect. Why do universities and professional teams profit from cities without fully investing in them? Why are young men taught to dream of escaping through sports? And when you look at it statistically, almost none of them make it to the pros. And what could happen if those same resources were poured back into literacy, trauma recovery, business, mentoring, healing? This episode is not anti-sport. It's just more pro-community. It's about asking deeper questions. It's about value, responsibility, and real investment in the communities that we live in. So let's begin. America loves black athletes. We love highlights. We love dunks, touchdowns, the swag. We love the entertainment. But when you start asking yourself something deeper, why don't the cities producing these athletes receive the same level of investment as the athletes themselves? Why are neighborhoods that produce millions and billions of dollars in athletic talent still drowning in poverty, trauma, violence, addiction, underperforming and underfunding schools, and hopelessness? Why do we keep celebrating the one kid who escapes instead of rebuilding the environment the kid had to escape from in the first place? This is Help the People, and we are talking about the cities that built the league. If you grow up in certain neighborhoods, sports become more than sports. Sports become possibility. I've seen it even from Niagara Falls. A football field becomes therapy. A basketball court becomes a person's identity. and the jersey you wear becomes hope. For many young boys and girls, especially boys, sports may be one of the first places they receive praise, structure, mentorship, attention, discipline, and affirmation. A coach becomes the closest thing for some of these kids to a father, the closest thing to stability. And the field and the court becomes a safer place than home in many instances. The field or court becomes safer than the streets. So I want to be clear, sports saves lives. They absolutely do. But here's the issue. We've created an environment where sports often feel like the only visible ladder out. And statistically, the ladder is incredibly narrow. Many young athletes will never make it professionally, not because of lack of talent and not because of lack of want, not because of lack of work ethic, because mathematically almost nobody makes it. And yet entire communities emotionally invest in a dream because the alternatives often feel invisible, dead end. And from where I sit, this is the part that no one talks about. Let's be honest, the odds are brutal. A tiny percentage of high school athletes play Division I sports. And even a smaller percentage reach leagues like the National Football League or the NBA. For many communities, thousands of boys chase a dream that only one or two ever touch. But I'll tell you a statistic that's very high in these very same communities. Literacy rates struggle. Mental health goes untreated. Fathers disappear into the prison systems. Schools decline. Trauma compounds. And violence becomes normalized. And yet we still keep telling these children that ball is your way out. Not engineering, counseling, entrepreneurship, writing, the technology, ownership, agriculture, investment therapy, media production, etc. Just ball. And what happens psychologically when an entire generation ties its value to a statistical miracle? And I ask that as a question, really, what happens? What happens when a child believes his body is the only economic asset? Reminiscent of slavery, isn't it? That question matters. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Major colleges recruit heavily in poor urban communities. Professional leagues profit from athletes raised in environments many executives would never allow their own children to live in, let alone even visit. Sneaker companies profit, universities profit, media companies profit, streaming companies profit. Everyone profits, but how much actually are returned to those communities? I'm not talking charity events, not turkey giveaways, not one basketball camp every summer. I'm talking structural investment. Imagine if sports organization funded organized things like trauma centers, literacy academies, fatherhood initiatives, trade programs, mentoring pipelines, entrepreneurship labs, mental health clinic, nutrition programs, art programs, technology centers. Imagine if communities producing elite athletes became elite communities. Imagine if investment matched extraction. Because right now, in many cases, the system mines talent from suffering environments and then celebrates the rare survivor. This is what I truly believe. The talent in these communities goes far beyond athletes. The discipline required to become a high average or high level athlete is transferable. Think about it. A kid waking up 5 a.m. every day to train already understands discipline, sacrifice, delayed gratification, consistency, resilience, and pressure. That same child could easily become a surgeon, CEO, architect, therapist, filmmaker, educator, software engineer. But many communities never receive enough exposure to these possibilities. The issue is not lack of greatness. The issue is narrow imagination. And when environments are filled with trauma, survival naturally becomes the priority over exploration. So now I ask the question again, what if cities that built leagues were invested in the leagues themselves? Think about how the NBA has expanded, WNBA has expanded, the NFL and the contracts that they can pay. What if sports became one pathway instead of the only pathway? What if athletes returning home didn't just bring celebrity, but infrastructure? What if professional organizations adopted neighborhoods the same way they adopt athletes? What if healing became part of the development? Because here's the truth. Many young men are not just training their bodies, they are coping. Sports becomes anger management, emotional release, identity formation, escape, survival. And imagine what happens when those young men receive emotional intelligence, therapy, mentorship, spiritual grounding, financial literacy, and healthy masculinity models. You don't just produce athletes, you produce healthier men. You produce healthier men who build healthier communities. So, in closing, let me say I'm not anti-sports. I love sports. But I think we have to ask harder questions about what we celebrate and what we neglect. Because some neighborhoods have produced greatness for generations while receiving very little healing in return. And still, those communities keep producing brilliance. That says something powerful about the people. But imagine if it wasn't about survival anymore. Imagine if survival wasn't the foundation from which it was built. Imagine if Black communities could sustain investment instead of occasional inspiration. What would that look like? Maybe then success won't look like a kid escaping. Maybe success will look like the neighborhood thriving. This is Help the People. And remember, some of the greatest talent in the world is sitting in communities that simply need investment, protection, and belief. Thank you for listening. And remember, kindness knows no enemy.
Dear God, help us see the gifts hiding in places the world overlooks. Remind us that greatness is not rare. Opportunity is. Give our communities resources equal to their potential. Give our children more pathways than survival. Give them teachers who inspire, mentors who guide, leaders who protect, and communities that believe in them. Help us invest not only in the few who make headlines, but also in the many whose names may never be known. Teach us to build environments where talent can grow, healing can happen, and hope can take root. Let us become people who leave behind infrastructure, not just inspiration. And remind every child listening today, they are more than a statistic, more than a circumstance, and more than a dream deferred.